Today we have a special guest, my jelly cat named Fleur. This is Fleur. From the title of this video, I am going to be doing my May to June reads. I'm still getting into Circe by Madeline Miller, so I'm working my way through. I'm almost done, so I think today I'll do a few more chapters. To start this video off, I did film this before. I don't know what happened to my footage, but I just know a lot of my footage I already cleaned out my SD cards, so I am refilming because I don't know where the rest went, and it's kind of sad, and hopefully that it doesn't do that again. I don't know if I properly explained it, but one of the reasons why I started reading again was simply because I felt that I was too chronically online. I feel like there's a whole bunch of brain rot, and I was very consumed by how I viewed myself through social media, and I didn't really like it. Another reason was I see a lot of videos these days talking about how kids are around 2 to 3 levels below their actual grade level, and you know, I didn't want to be that way. I kind of wanted to just continue expanding the way I interact and view literature, make those connections in my life, just engage more with different pieces of media. And I think the most major takeaway I want to have with reading books is kind of embrace being by myself, doing things by myself. I used to be so scared of just being out and, you know, being alone, and I think through reading I kind of learned to accept that I actually kind of like doing things by myself. So I think that's what kind of started my interest in picking up more classical reads. So I'm doing this in a very conversational manner with you guys. So these are my books that I have in my apartment right now. I do have more there. I just had to return them because I am moving out at the end of the semester. I'm trying not to buy more books at the moment, so I usually only average 1 to 2 books a month on top of my schedule. But besides the point, after Circe, I am going to be reading my last book that I had people kind of vote on, and that was A Hue of Blue by Mary France Ledger. It came up on my TikTok feed. I think this has to do with relationship dynamics. It reads, bold, charismatic, and charming Blue Henderson wears a fake smile every day, pushing through life because she has to, not because she wants to. Quiet, introverted, and mysterious Jace Bolin catches her eye the second she sees him. After that, it's game over. Not just for Blue, but for Jace as well. Drawn together by inexplicable attraction, a whirlwind connection forms that persists and torments, mends and breaks, and forces both Blue and Jace to confront their traumas of their past. A Hue of Blue explores how 2 broken hearts can find comfort in tragic losses, how 2 broken souls can find peace in pain, and how loving yourself may be the only way to love another, no matter the consequence. I feel like a lot of these books I have in my TBR are books that can make you cry, and I just been needing some books that really bring out some angst and those type of emotions in myself. So there's not really too much to it. I just saw a nice interesting quote, and I thought I would give it a try. I got this for my birthday. My birthday was back in December, and I just finally had the time to purchase it. I've been kind of eyeing this book since last year. I tried getting this in Barnes & Noble, but when I went in store, they told me that I have to order it on the website and they print it out for me. Yeah, so I purchased it online. The next book I have is this beautiful cover. Very interesting. It's of a pomegranate. I think it's a painting as well. It's not like an actual pomegranate. This is Ripe by Sarah Rose Etter. I actually was influenced to purchase this by Melissa. I wanted this simply because the cover was interesting and also because of her review. Melissa recommended this because she wanted more contemporary reads, and I thought it was very interesting reading the kind of like synopsis on the back. It goes, a year into her dream job at cutthroat Silicon Valley startup, Cassie is burnt out, sleep deprived, and still living paycheck to paycheck. She struggles to reconcile the glittering promise of tech with an untenable cost of living and the abject poverty all around her. Ivy League grads complain about the snack selection from a conference room with a view of unhoused people bathing in the bay. Desperate men leap into the paths of commuter trains or set themselves on fire in the streets, and everywhere Cassie goes, a miniature black hole follows her, growing or shrinking in relation to her distress. Its relentless pull draws her even closer as the world around her unravels. When Cassie winds up unexpectedly pregnant and her CEO's demands go from unethical to illegal, this hovering embodiment of her anxiety and depression threatens to consume her. Doubting everything she's worked toward, Cassie must decide whether the tempting fruits of Silicon Valley are really worth it or if there's something better waiting for her beyond the event horizon. So I feel like I could kind of connect this to my everyday life. I'm extremely busy, so sometimes I kind of get consumed by my work. Sometimes I kind of think to myself, like, is this really worth it? Like, what am I here for? Will this work be worth it in the end? So I thought it was just really interesting to kind of make that connection. So I hope I would find some of that connection through Cassie. The next book I have, I picked this book up. It was very interesting when I was in the bookstore. You can kind of hear the cover. It's a very interesting texture. It's almost slightly rigid. It's called Diavola by Jennifer Throne, and it's described as a gothic gem. So I'm not really well versed in other genres, and this one I think has to do with family dynamics, written in a war theme. So it goes, Anna has 2 rules for the annual Pace family destination vacations: tread lightly and survive. It isn't easy when she's the only one in the family who doesn't quite fit in. Her twin brother Benny goes with the flow so much he's practically dissolved, and her older sister Nicole is so used to everyone, including her blatantly docile husband and 2 kids, falling in line that Anna often ends up in trouble for simply asking a question. Mom seizes every opportunity to question her life choices, and Dad, when not reminding everyone who paid for this vacation, just wants some peace and quiet. The gorgeous remote villa in tiny Monteperso seems like a perfect place to endure so much family togetherness until things start going off the rails. The strange noises at night, the unsettling warnings from the local villagers, and the dark, violent past of the villa itself. And then in small text here, it says, warning, may invoke feelings of irritation, dread, and despair that come with large family gatherings. I thought it was very interesting. Like I said, I never pick up books in regards to like complicated family dynamics, and I thought it was something that I could try out. Maybe I could relate to in some way, some form. Family vacations are not always easy. I think the chapters are so interesting too. Let me open it up. You can see it has this really cool drawing on it. Like I said, I've never picked up Gothic literature before, so maybe this will be a kind of cool little start. A very modern start, at least. This read is what inspired Dracula. It's called Carmilla, written by Joseph Sheridan Fanu, and it's edited by Carmen Maria Manchado. It's a really short read, so I know for a fact that I could get through this pretty fast. I picked this up simply because I was in the horror section where I bought this book. My friend back in high school actually read this book. She told me a little bit about it, and I just remembered. You can kind of see I'm kind of going with a red theme here, so I think when I picked Diavola up, I was like, let's continue the red theme, and I picked up Carmilla. Isolated in a remote mansion in a central European forest, Laura longs for companionship until a carriage incident brings another young woman into her life, the secretive and sometimes erratic Carmilla. As Carmilla's actions become more puzzling and volatile, Laura develops bizarre symptoms, and as her health goes into decline, Laura and her father discover something monstrous. It's a compelling tale of a young woman's seduction by a female vampire. It was a source of influence for Bram Stoker's Dracula, which predates by over a quarter century. Carmilla was originally serialized from 1871 to 1872 and went on to inspire adaptations in film, opera, and beyond, including the cult classic web series by the same name. I mean, who wouldn't want to read this? Would this be considered a classic like literature book? Let me know. I kind of have to be fast again because there's always something going on with my camera. I need to get another secondary battery. It was like first my storage was running out and then now it's my battery. But another book that I wanted to read was No Longer Human by Osamu Dazai. This was one heavily recommended to me through Instagram Reels. Very excited to read this. I do want to read other books by Osamu Dazai. I think I want to read his work called Schoolgirl and then The Setting Sun. I simply picked this up because, again, I wanted like a good cry, a good way to connect to literature, especially classical literature. So when I saw this on Instagram Reels, I was like, you know what, I'm gonna give this a try. Portraying himself as a failure, the protagonist Osamu Dazai, no longer human, narrates a seemingly normal life even when he feels himself incapable of understanding human beings. Oba Yozo's attempt to reconcile himself to the world around him begin in early childhood, continue through high school where he becomes a clown to mask his alienation, and eventually lead to the failed suicide attempt as an adult. Without sentimentality, he records the casual cruelties of life and its fleeting moments of human connection and tenderness. I think this book also inspired the manga by Junji Ito, No Longer Human, same title. So I'm kind of interested to read this and then maybe compare the manga. But let me get through my reads first. Who knows if I'll even get to it anytime soon. And last but not least, I went over to my favorite section of Barnes & Noble. I love going over to the banned book table that they always have out. And one of the books that I picked up and was also recommended to me through Instagram Reels was The Bell Jar by Sylvia Plath. I think that's how you pronounce it properly. Let me know. I think it's going to be another sad read that I've been needing. I was really interested. Going over to the banned books section is actually really important to me. It's really scary to see the direction where books I feel that are very important to children education are being banned. I will always reference the book Fahrenheit 451 and I have to go and pick that up or purchase it secondhand because I feel like having that book is extremely important. Literature is just extremely important, and it's again one of the reasons why I started picking up books again. I have a fear that, you know, books won't be this really prominent thing in our generation, and I feel like having those conversations, these topics, engaging ourselves with specific genres, and I feel like it's just really important to make those comparisons, have those uncomfortable conversations. So one of the reasons why I just picked this up was simply because, again, it was in the banned book section and I thought it was just very interesting. It goes, The Bell Jar chronicles the crack up of Esther Greenwood, brilliant, beautiful, enormously talented and successful, but slowly going under, maybe for the last time. Sylvia Plath masterfully draws the reader into Esther's breakdown with such intensity that Esther's insanity becomes completely real and even rational, as probable and accessible an experience as going to the movies. Such deep penetration into the dark, harrowing corners of the psyche is an extraordinary accomplishment and has made The Bell Jar a haunting American classic. So it doesn't really give you too much about the book itself. The cover is extremely interesting as well. These are my May to June reads. I don't know if I'll be able to get through all of them. Like I said, I've only been averaging 1 to 2 books within 2 months, so yeah, I'm really excited to start a journey in terms of literature and book content. Hopefully these different genres will broaden my horizons. But in the meantime, I will go ahead and finish the last few pages, last 2 chapters. I'm at almost 70% done, which is crazy. I feel like this is almost almost the end of the book. Hopefully I can get my May to June reads TBR video up before the end of May. I've just been so busy with school, so sometimes I'll be really delayed with editing some clips that I have gathered over the past few months, but either way, it's kind of like a little video diary into my life. That is it for my May to June reads. I hope you all have a good rest of your day, whether that's morning or night. I will see you guys in the next video.